And of course, with that, we are now going to be moving on to one of our top highlights for the day. What's coming up is our keynote session. What will drive the next phase of tech disruption in Southeast Asia? And of course, before we introduce the session, please take your mobile phones and scan the QR code on the screen. If you can't scan it, you can head over to your mobile browser and type in the link https://ahaslides.com into your search bar to access our Q&A platform. So scan the QR code right over there. And of course, coming up, as I mentioned, this is our keynote session, so don't go anywhere. You're not going to want to miss what we're going to be having next right here on the stage. And now, ladies and gentlemen, jumping straight into our keynote session, what will drive the next phase of tech disruption in Southeast Asia? Now, leading the discussion is Joji Thomas Philip, Editor-in-Chief and Founder, DealStreetAsia, alongside with Patrick Walujo, Co-Founder and Co-Managing Partner, Northstar Group, and CEO, GoTo Group. Let's give a round of applause to welcome them.
Thank you so much for yes. Morning. Yeah, good morning, everyone. Thank you for staying on for our keynote. Patrick needs no introduction, so let's get straight into it. But before that, my team and I are grateful to Patrick. He actually took a flight this morning to make it for this session. Thank you for being here.
And thank you. And yeah. I'm sorry about the scheduling. Singapore Airlines is totally unreliable these days. Long delay, so my apology.
So I think Singapore Airlines will be disappointed with that.
Fly Garuda.
Yeah. So Patrick, let's get straight into it because we are running behind schedule. So I just want to start with two big picture questions. The new Indonesian government president has said that his target is to achieve 8% economic growth during his tenure. What must Indonesia do to hit 8% growth?
I think 8% is a true potential of Indonesia. There are a lot of things that need to be unlocked. There are a lot of fundamentals that need to be fixed. And the government is in power less than 100 days, so I think we need to give them a little bit of time. But what I can say is this, based on our interaction with our regulators, so ministers, new ministers in the cabinet who directly regulate us, the quality is high. Some of them are actually better than the previous ones. So I'm quite optimistic that the government can deliver, whether it's 8%, 5%. I think 8% is an aspirational and true potential. If you ask me how far can GoTo go, I would say that still a lot higher, right? But there's still definitely a lot of things that need to be worked on.
Yeah, just one related point, Patrick, in the sense to increase the current growth rate to close to 8%. One key issue that Indonesia must address is, improve manufacturing. Vietnam over the last decade went from 1% of global manufacturing to 4% today. How does Indonesia kickstart its, the manufacturing part?
I have a different view, Joji. I think Indonesia's competitive advantages lie somewhere else, right? I mean, if you look at developed countries, the majority start with the progression of having strong manufacturing base and whatnot, but there's a country like Australia that is endowed with great resources, and that's, if you look at Indonesia, there's still huge potential in agriculture. If Holland, which is like a lot smaller than us, can be a global food producer, global food supplier, why can't we, right? And then on the minerals and going downstream and whatnot, there's still huge potential, not to say the domestic economy, the market, and whatnot. Now, do we have to look into manufacturing and be a lot more competitive? The answer is absolutely yes. But it's not the only ingredient. I just came back from Thailand. My good friend is back in power in Thailand, and if we look at the country in the countries in the region, yes, Vietnam is strong, but they don't have power. They don't have energy. Long-term energy is limited in Vietnam. Indonesia, we have abundance of energy resources. So we need to think differently. It's not Vietnam is pursuing what they are good at, which is great. And Vietnam is a mini China. It takes 1 day to ship goods by truck from southern China to Hanoi, to Ho Chi Minh City, maybe another day. So it's it's just two totally different countries.
Got it. Yeah, just shifting gears, moving on from big picture. Just want to ask you a bunch of questions or 2-3 questions related to Gojek and GoTo. Just a couple of weeks ago, there was an announcement that you will continue to stay on as GoTo CEO for 5 more years. From what we understand, initially you were supposed to do a short stint. What made you at GoTo? What made you extend your tenure at GoTo for the next 5 years? What led to the decision?
It's quite addictive. No, the thing is that the company has gone through a lot of major changes, shock in the system and whatnot, and we have made a lot of improvement. Just it's a public company and we haven't announced our results, so I have to be careful. But 2024 top line we grew significantly. We are going to surpass our targets in terms of profitability and whatnot. But there are still a lot of fundamental things that we need to do. There are a lot of work. I guess, like in any business, no job is done. We need to keep moving. We are making a lot of changes in the organizations. We are adding technological capabilities. We are switching our cloud providers. I think we talked about this last year. So we think that we need a little bit more stability in the business, and the board had asked me to consider staying longer, which I'm happy to do. But along the way, if there is somebody who is a lot better who can take over, I'd be more than happy to pass the baton.
Yeah, you talked about the progress, like the last 2 years. If you look at the financials, like not getting into specific numbers, but you were EBITDA positive in late 2023. You said like last year in 2024, there were significant growth. So what is next for GoTo, for the group?
I think the profitability part is a result of a lot of hard work that we have done. And on that note, we hope to add 1 more digit to the level of profitability. So it's a massive increase this year over last year. But below that is really, all the fundamental things I think the last speaker spoke about. In our case, our ecosystem is big. It's really understanding our customers. There are always new things that we learn, even now. And that make our strategy and decision-making sharper. And providing the right products for the right segment on a personalized basis, making sure that we solve this big problem. I know that some of you who use Gojek or GoCar in Jakarta or in Singapore, the waiting time could be high. But if you use it now, hopefully your experience is better than it was in November, and our numbers show that. Our financial services are doing extremely well. So a lot of different components, Joji, that will lead to the financial results. But on top of all of that is to make sure that we have the best team available, the best team that can execute all of this.
Yeah, all the very best on that. But Patrick, one related question there is, over the last couple of years, Gojek has pulled back from some of the Southeast Asian markets. You scaled down in Philippines, in Vietnam. At one point you were expanding. So now that you're continuing for the next 5 years, do you see GoTo becoming a regional player in Southeast Asia?
So we are never in the Philippines. The company had pulled out of Thailand before I came. And then I decided to pull out of Vietnam. And that's because our resources are limited. We need to, there's still a lot of things that we need to focus on. And it's about prioritization. Some of this, if we allocate 90% of our resources only on 4 or 5 things that really matter, that would make a big difference to the company, from product, customer experience, and therefore results, financial results. So rather than doing too many things and throwing resources on things that have no clear clarity as to how we can improve our competitive standing in those markets, we feel that we just make a strategic retreat, strengthen our base, and the options of going back hopefully will always be there.
Interesting. One other thing is AI is the hottest. The AI is one of super hot now, and in terms of GoTo Group, that's something that you've been looking at. You launched Dira, you're looking at Shabada. How much do you think AI can sort of help improve efficiency in a large company like GoTo?
It's massive. We think that the potential is massive, and you touched on the right questions. It's about improving efficiencies, customer experience. We are doing it slightly differently than other people. Our view is that yes, there is place for us to use large language model developed by world-class companies, but the token price is expensive, and we need to send our data to them, and we also are exploring ways to use smaller language models that we develop ourselves, and we ingest our own transaction data, our own customer service data, and basically improve the customer experience, and also to reduce our costs. What we introduced when Jensen came here was the first iteration of what we call Sahabat.ai, which is a open source LLM that we co-developed with Indosat. That's only about 8 to 9 billion parameters. But first quarter this year, we will release our 72 billion parameter LLM. We are working with some of Indonesia's top media companies like Kompas Gramedia, where they are helping to improve the model by injecting their database and knowledge base and whatnot. So hopefully, we will have a solid Indonesian model that also speaks or operable in other dialects. As a matter of fact, I just got a message from Jensen yesterday that NVIDIA is now looking to support, to play a bigger role to support Sahabat.ai in the next phase. So yeah, I mean, it's very important. We take it very seriously. We are slowly integrating some of these initiatives in our day-to-day operations.
Do you see NVIDIA investing in GoTo?
I'm sorry?
Do you see NVIDIA investing in GoTo?
NVIDIA investing in GoTo? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. But we are working very closely with them. They are a chip manufacturer or designer, not manufacturer, but designer. And it's a very powerful product. So we are in a very close coordination with them.
Got it. Patrick, when you were here last year for our summit, it was just after the TikTok deal where you had sold a controlling stake in Tokopedia to them. It's been a year now. How has the integration, how has the progress been? And how has TikTok sort of changed the e-commerce scene in Indonesia?
It's been great. I was just reviewing the integration over the weekend. So from total transaction perspective, we have both grown a lot. So now I think the market is basically controlled by 2 players. Our competition is obviously bigger, still bigger than us. But all the fundamental problems that we saw on our e-commerce platform are now all fixed. If you are user of Tokopedia, I hope that you can tell that it's a different experience. The hypothesis pans out. Our relationship with ByteDance and TikTok is rock solid. We are doing more and more collaboration together. So I think it's been a successful partnership.
Yeah, some great audience questions. I'll just take the second one first. If TikTok gets banned in the US, will it double down in Southeast Asia?
It's for you to ask TikTok. It's not my place to answer for them.
Yeah, and the other one, in terms of Grab has partnered with BYD to support EV cars. What's Gojek's plans?
We have a short-term and long-term plan. Our short-term plan is really to improve the car experience for our customers, regardless whether it's conventional or EV. And at the end of the day, cost still matters for our customers. So, we are customers first, than anything else.
Yeah. Just one final question on GoTo is your whole fintech strategy. There are lots of moving parts, right? There's Bank Jago, there's BNPL, there's tie-ups with BFL. There's so many things. And this is a division that has performed really well for you. What's plans for this division going forward?
So from the consumer side, there are two most important products. One is GoPay, our payment, our wallet, and then there's GoPay Pay Later or GoPay Cash Loan. And the GoPay we only launched in October last year. It's growing very fast. The product is awesome if you are using GoPay, which I highly encourage. It's a very simple product. We got a lot of traction. The landing site is just doing phenomenally well. And unlike independent P2P players, I really, because I'm investor in some of the independent ones or standalone ones, I see the real strength, the real strength and benefits of being a big platforms, because the customers' quality that we have is just phenomenal. It's not something that the standalone companies would have access to. And therefore, we can offer more competitive pricing to our customers. And this creates the flywheel of having our finance business grow really fast. Yeah. The other part, they are all just the engines behind it. They are very important engines, but our customers wouldn't see that. But we have no problem. We have ample access to capital at a competitive rate and whatnot. But that's not something that the customers would be able to see.
Got it. Patrick, just moving from GoTo, I just want to ask you, perhaps among the most important, the elephant in the room topic here is e-fishery. You were one of the early backers of e-fishery. What do you think went wrong, and how is it that something like this was not caught by any of the investors or board members over such a long period? Because our reporters have put out a story today that the investigation into e-fishery saying that the fraud began in 2018. So what's your take on what really happened?
It's a total embarrassment, and it's shame on the people who have been running e-fishery. I'm not part of the investigation team. My colleagues are handling that. But from the first look, I believe this is a systematic fraud on all fronts. Right before I joined GoTo, I actually sent a team to e-fishery just to do some checkings because they were growing fast, and this is a normal course of business. And we just got copies of the chat of the team dealing with our team, our team that we sent, like an audit team, and it was clear that it was all staged, right? And it was systematic. So it's really shocking. I think the damage that they have done to Indonesia, to the startup community, and to our credibility is massive. So we'll get to the bottom of it, and this is I think we'll take this very seriously.
Yeah, but can the company be salvaged? Because you have sent a top executive from Northstar to sort of take over and run it. So you have there's a new CFO, there's a new CEO. What do you see the future of e-fishery?
I think it's too early to tell. In a systematic fraud like this, we need to know what is the real fundamental still left or intact in the company. But this is a warning for everybody who is in the startup world, right, and investors. This is not the first one in Indonesia. In the past couple of years, I think this is the third one of high-flying startups that have committed such fraud. And I think I think we will reflect, we will study it, and we will reflect, and we'll make improvements in the way how we deal with our operating and our investing companies. But having run GoTo, I would say that I can say this with confidence. If you want to commit a fraud, yes, you can do it. And no matter how good the investors are, if that's what you're really aiming to do, you can hide. You can hide it for a while, but you cannot run. One day it will catch up, right? It's a matter of time. But yeah, I mean, I can tell you with confidence that if I, as CEO, coordinate a massive fraud, it can always be done. But is that really something that you want to do in your life? It's a question that people need to answer for themselves.
On a broader question of the Indonesian ecosystem, funding has sort of decreased significantly over the last couple of years. There's a severe funding crunch. How do you sort of see the situation being resolved going forward? Many of the investors have not committed, investors from abroad have not committed capital. Is Indonesia too big to ignore, especially for the global players?
At the end of the day, the investors are attracted by returns, right? I mean, in the beginning, in the first phase, it was all promise and all potentials, and now people need to see where the money is, and what products these people or these startups develop and whatnot. And I would say that. I would be proud to say that my colleagues at GoTo, I mean, I just joined 18 months ago, but there were people who have been working there for a long time. They really built world-class products, world-class company. I can say that with a great confidence, and we have built something truly special. And I hope that there are more and more people, more companies that emerge to become world-class players. But I would say this, I've spent time in many places in China and India, and I think what we need to do as Indonesian is that we always have to move fast to up our game, right? I mean, when you are a startup, there's no way that you can address and resolve everything. But you need to be like totally resolute in making sure that our product is at par as with global players. There is no other way, and also to really have a full understanding about the fundamentals of the business. What moves the business, what moves the needle, the quality of the people, and this is what I see as being the biggest difference of the market leaders in China and in India. I spent time with Zomato. I spent time with Meituan. Yeah, I mean, it's even today we still have a lot of things to learn from them.
Interesting. Just because we're running out of time, but just wanted a quick question on the private equity side, because you're also Northstar, which is among the leading regional funds in this region. When it comes to mid-market PE, be it Indonesia and Southeast Asia, mid-market PE it's been a tough phase. Is that because in terms of the deal space, you see increased competition from the global players? How can mid-market PE sort of emerge in this region?
I think it's a supply issue, Joji. It's really a supply issue, whether it's in the venture side, whether it's in the private equity side. There is a lack of quality supply. And therefore, in Indonesia, I always give advice to be to people who are thinking about going to this industry by the venture of private equity is you are much better off if you have the ambition to be on the supply side rather than the capital provider. Meaning that if you are really good, build your own company, or be part of a journey of a corporate to because if you can do it, the money is always going to be there. Being a capital provider is not a good place to be in this market.
Yeah. Patrick, you're also among the prolific investors. So are you still long on Southeast Asia and Indo-tech? And which are the sectors that you think you're betting on for, say, 2025 and beyond?
I'm still very long on Indonesia. I'm still very long on GoTo. I'm still very long on some of the companies that we invested. Some of the companies that we have invested are doing extremely well. They're always bad apples, but if you put that aside, these companies are doing extremely well. And that's the difference is all about the quality of the founders and the management and whatnot. And that's what I meant. I mean, you know, if you think that you're really good, just help these companies build something really special.
Got it, yeah. We'll just take a couple of more audience questions. The first one is on impact of VinFast on Gojek. It says they've achieved certain success in ride-hailing in Vietnam. Can they do the same in Indonesia?
We have a lot of respect for VinFast. We were competing with them in Vietnam. They rolled out good products, and we think that they will be competitive in Indonesia. But VinFast came from a automotive manufacturing side. And if we look at around the world, there's a limit at how much one manufacturing brand. I mean, is it really an EV company? Is it really a ride-hailing company, or is it marketing its own product, its own cars? And at the end of the day, if we look at EV, this is, I think everybody can agree here, it is the most competitive segment in the world. And if you look at scale, Chinese EVs, especially if they can export to the Western world, there are going to be a lot of options, prices are going to be a lot lower, and so on and so on. So I would rather be on keeping the flexibility of being able to offer our customers multiple brands, multiple products.
Yeah. My final question is, because you mentioned EV, on EV, Indonesia is a powerhouse when it comes to nickel, and the government wants to sort of expand, across the whole EV chain. Is that possible? Because, we have very strong players in other parts of the world. The manufacturing facilities are better in other parts of the world. So how can you move up the value chain in EV and compete globally?
It is definitely possible, and we have the market size, we have the supply, the raw materials, and then we are going up the value chain in the raw materials to create anode and and batteries and so forth. But let the market decide. Let the market mechanism take advantage of this. I think the government should provide the policies, should encourage people to come in, regardless where they come from. They can come from the US, from China, from Vietnam. The government should should create a conducive environment. I think we should not repeat what we did in the early 90s, in the 80s, whereby in the aviation industry, we decided that we could create our own aircraft, right? But just put all the ingredients and let the market and let all these players figure it out themselves.
So do you think the LCR policy is good? The LCR policy, local components?
I think it's good. I think the key is that how do you replicate China from taking the advantage of their markets and getting people to invest and to transfer technologies and also to create homegrown talents, create the ecosystem. Remember, this EV in China is, I would argue, is also a product of decades of investments by foreign players, Volkswagen and whatnot in China, creating the know-how and the local talent pool and the ecosystem. So nothing is going to happen overnight. It takes time, right? But if you don't do it now, when are you going to do it? It has to start today.
Got it. Yeah, Patrick, thank you so much. We have a hard stop. I know you got to run too, but thank you so much for the frank discussion or taking the questions. It was great to have you back this year. Yeah, thank you all for joining, and let's give a big hand to Patrick for joining us. Thank you.
And of course, Patrick and Joji, don't forget there's a photo we'd like to take. That's right. Let's capture this moment. All right. Big smiles for the camera. All right, we've got it. Well done.